Okay, we are back. Today I'd like to continue our series of Vulnhub. The virtual machine would be Symfonos 4. I will put the link into the description section below so that you can download this virtual machine. Before we begin today's video, if you don't mind, please subscribe to my channel. I do appreciate your help and support. So now let's just get started. To save time, I have already imported this virtual machine into the VirtualBox and configure its network adapter as host-only mode. Now we can go into the Kali Linux virtual machine. As you can see over here, I have already identified the IP address of the virtual machine or target as 252. Then I did the nmap scanning, I did the scene scan, the version scan, and also the default script scan. And then the option of -p- stands for the comprehensive scan or full range port scan. So from the nmap scanning results, as you can see, the two open ports. The first one is 22, which is running SSH surface, and also the actual version information, including the version number. As we know, this version doesn't have any vulnerability. And the second one is 80, which is running HTTP surface, which is Apache 2. So now what we are going to do next is to do some enumeration for the 80 port. I have already opened up the browser of Firefox. So now we can access this virtual machine. There is just one page as usual in this series, but we cannot get hidden message from this image itself. And also we can check the this site has robots file, but it's forbidden. So what can we do now? We can use the tool like Nikto and GoBuster. And specify the IP address of the virtual machine. And then hit enter. Now we wait for this to be completed. Yeah, we have already got one file, c.php, and we can access this file, c. As you can see, this one is automatically redirected to the alternates.php, and this is the user login panel. And you can try like a weak password like admin, but it's not working. And also we can try the login bypass techniques. For example, like admin and password, we can put any random information. Login. As you can see, we successfully log in. And here we can select some information like heads. So from the parameter, the file, we can conclude possibly this parameter has the local file inclusion vulnerability. For example, we can try the etc password, but nothing returned. And then we can try but similar, nothing found. And also we can try like Apache 2, because as we know, this virtual machine has Apache 2 running and the access log, but not found. And also we can check whether has also log, but nothing returned. But my friends, I'd like to emphasize at this point, yeah, this is the usual process or procedure when we try to exploit the local file inclusion vulnerability. And in this case, we need to remove the extension. As you can see, we have already retrieved the content of the author log. This point is very, very important. If you, as usual, if you put the log extension, you will not get any information back. Okay, so this is a very important point I'd like to point out with you. So now next we need to exploit this vulnerability to get the shell, right? And what we can do, I think we can interrupt this process of directory enumeration. We can write the command, because the author log, we can write the SSH login information into this log file. And this login, we can use the PHP one-line code for the shell, for the backdoor. Let's do it. SSH. Yeah, I'd like this one. I'd like to autocomplete this command. So of course, this will not work to log in via SSH. But because this information will be logged by the target, and then we can access the log file and then get the shell. And the parameter name is CMD. Okay, let's hit enter. Sorry, I need to remove the existing information first, and then log in again. Yes, and the password, of course, we cannot get it working. So I'd like to quit this login, and then we go back to our browser, and we can pass the parameter like CMD and ID. As you can see, the command ID has been successfully executed by the target. And then we can check whether this virtual machine has netcat running. As you can see from here, we can know the netcat is there, is installed in the virtual machine. And then what can we do next is to get the reversed shell. But before we do that, we need to set up the listener first. And then go back to our browser. And we can use the NC option E bin bash and the IP address of the Kali Linux. And the port number. Let's hit enter. As you can see, we have already got the reverse shell from the target. And we can check the version of the Python. Spawn. Okay, no such a file. Spawn. Oh, Python. I mistyped the name of the module. PTY spawn being not module, I mean the shell name. And as you can see, we have already logged in. Oh, sorry, we have already become the interactive shell. There is only one user post. Dumb. And no user flag there. We don't need to do that. And also we can check the sudo, but nothing found. And also we can find the command which have the SUID bit. but nothing useful here. So we need to do furthermore local immersion. At this point, we need to upgrade or elevate our privilege to the root user. And we can go to the var directory, go to the www.html, and we can cat Atlantis PHP. As we know, this file has the credentials or passwords for the collection to the database. As you can see, the password is here. Of course, we can use these credentials to log in to the database and to see whether we can find out more information. But I can tell you, nothing interesting there. And I just put the password here. Then we can try whether we can use this password, and maybe this password can be used by this user. We can switch post and password. As you can see, we successfully switched the shell to this user post item, whatever you pronounce it. Okay, so we can, but I think you can upload the Olympia shell script to do some more specific immersion, but I can tell you nothing found. And we can check the running port on the target. As you can see, another interesting port is running locally, 8080, and we can go to the op directory and go to the code directory. So I think this web application is running by this Python, the Python script, and this Python script is running by the root user. So we need to, I think first we need to access this 8080 from the local Kali Linux. But how to do it? We need to set up the tunnel by SSH. And we can open up another tab, SSH, and the port number, local number, and the destination IP address, and 8080, and the username. We can make a copy because I don't want mistype, and the IP address, and the password. I have already got that in the pad. So wrong password, paste again. So now we can use the browser to access the local port number just we set previously. And because there's some cache, but anyway, here we can retrieve this home page of the 8080 port number, and then we can use the Burp Suite to intercept the request. As can we refresh, and we can make a copy. This username is encoded in base 64, and we can use the decoder module and decode as base. Decode Yeah, as you can see, I think this is the Python, the JSON pickle string. Next, we need to exploit and change this payload to, and this payload will be running by the Python script on the target. I think this a bit complicated, so I just copy and we can use this information. But before we use that, we need to encode this information, encode as base64. Okay, and then we can make a copy, and then we can replace this string. But before we forward this request, we need to set up the listener first. Sudo, and then we can forward. As you can see, we spawn another shell. We can check the ID, which is root. We can go to the root directory, and we can get the root flag here. Okay, so that's all I'd like to go through this virtual machine. I hope to see you in the next one. Bye.